comments from the actress playing Snow White, who seems to have contempt for the original story and character.
Love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
It's one of the original. I'm a really big Disney fan. I grew up at the Disney parks. My parents took me every summer.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it is.
There are actors, dwarf actors, that that dream to be in a major motion picture such as
appreciation for the Magic Kingdom and the original magic of Disney. You know, they're celebrating their 100th year of movie making.
The lights of Hollywood shine bright, but sometimes even the brightest stars can't escape the shadow of controversy. As the press tour for Disney's upcoming Snow White remake began, the excitement was palpable. At the Oscars, Gal Gadot, Rachel Zegler, and the rest of the cast came out, ready to promote their movie with all the flair one would expect from such a high-profile production. The music played, and they stepped onto the stage, all smiles and harmony. The air was full of optimism, with promises of friendship between the cast, a warm, united front to share with the world. But behind the smiles,
this Disney remake. And now, because Peter Dinklage said what he said last year.
Of course, you're used to playing a hero, but what was it like playing a villain in this movie?
It was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
the tension was building, and what should have been a fairy tale promotional event was quickly turning into a marketing nightmare. The drama surrounding Snow White 2025 had been bubbling under the surface for months, and as soon as the first trailer dropped, it became clear that Disney's carefully crafted plans were about to unravel in the public eye. It was supposed to be magic in motion, an enchanting reimagining of one of Disney's most beloved classics. But the reality? The trailer hit with all the excitement of a soggy firework. Fans were not impressed. It was received with a collective groan across social media, with critics slamming it for being lifeless and uninspired. The backlash was immediate and severe, and what Disney had hoped would be a magical moment for the studio was quickly spiraling out of control. Instead of a triumphant return to...
Now it's taken away, and it's taken away because of quote-unquote progression and all that, and it's not really...
And say, you know, first of all, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to play the first iconic villain ever.
The screen, the Snow White trailer felt more like an insult to the original. The tension didn't just stop at the trailer. Gal Gadot, who was cast as the evil queen, had clearly had enough. 4 months, she had quietly supported Disney's vision for the film, but now frustration was evident. Imagine working hard on a project, only to have your contributions erased, literally cut from the film with no explanation. That's exactly what happened when Disney decided to remove Gal singing parts from both the movie and the trailer. The decision was jarring, especially considering how much she had invested in her role. For someone as professional as Gal Gadot, it had to have been a painful blow to see her efforts erased without warning or reason. And yet, despite the setback, Disney seemed determined to bury the issue, hoping it would all just go away. But that's not how these things work, especially not in today's age of social media, where every move is scrutinized, and fans are quick to notice when something is off. Gal, refusing to be silent, fired back. She wasn't just frustrated, she was calling out the decision publicly, demanding an explanation for why her parts had been cut. And it wasn't just her performance on the line. Fans were starting to question Disney's entire approach to this film. What were they hiding? Why was the trailer so lackluster? And, perhaps most importantly, why were some of the key elements of the movie being erased or changed without clear reason? The drama didn't stop with Gal. The test screenings for Snow White were a disaster, with reports of viewers walking out in the middle of the film. That's never a good sign for a movie that's supposed to bring in massive crowds. And things only got worse from there. One of the most controversial decisions was the casting of the Dwarfs. Instead of using actors with dwarfism, Disney chose to use CGI to create these characters. This choice was met with outrage from fans and critics alike. It felt like Disney was taking shortcuts, opting for a more
It's not right, because these are roles made for actors of my stature. Roles that aren't...
The appreciation and the respect that we get from our incredible audience.
Convenient option, instead of giving real actors the opportunity to play these iconic roles. This move raised serious questions about Disney's commitment to authenticity and respect for its audience. As if all of this wasn't enough, Disney's marketing team was also under fire. People were calling it one of the worst marketing efforts Disney had ever attempted. How could a studio with so much experience and so many resources mess this up so badly? There were even whispers that Disney was beginning to doubt whether this project would ever succeed, and some even speculated that they might cancel the whole movie altogether. To make matters worse, the behind-the-scenes drama at Disney was escalating. Reports started circulating that the director, Mark Webb, and even Disney's big boss Bob Iger were clashing over the direction of the film and the marketing strategy. It seemed like every decision they made was wrong, and tensions were running high. Promises had been made that weren't kept, especially regarding the content of the trailers. What was once a highly anticipated film was now becoming a textbook example of how not to handle a big-budget Disney remake. In the midst of all this turmoil, another twist emerged. Rachel Zegler, who was cast as Snow White, wasn't exactly thrilled with how Disney was handling the promotion of the movie either. The young actress, already under a lot of pressure due to the high expectations for the role, began to distance herself from the project. She was unhappy with how the film was being marketed and how her own contributions were being overshadowed. If she pulled back from promoting the movie, it would be a serious blow to Disney's efforts to salvage any positivity around the project. As more and more issues piled up, Disney's executive team found themselves scrambling. Emergency meetings were held, and rumors began to circulate that the movie might be pulled altogether. There was talk about canceling the entire Snow White remake, stopping the bleeding before the damage became irreparable. But that wasn't a decision anyone wanted to make. Canceling a big Disney project was no small thing, and it would undoubtedly hurt the company's reputation. But the reality was that things weren't getting any better. What had started as an exciting new chapter for Disney had turned into a PR disaster. The backlash continued to grow, and fans weren't shy about voicing their opinions. Some took to social media to complain about the CGI dwarfs. Others criticized the lack of real actors with dwarfism in the film. And then there was the issue of the film's overall tone. Many felt that Disney had completely missed the mark. The movie didn't feel like it honored the original Snow White in any meaningful way, and it didn't live up to the magic fans had come to expect from Disney. At the heart of it all was a sense of betrayal. Fans had been eagerly awaiting this remake, hoping it would bring the same magic and wonder they remembered from their childhood. But instead, they were left with a hollow version of something they held dear. It was a bitter pill to swallow, especially for those who had grown up with the original Snow White and had hoped for something better. The choice to modernize the story, to make it fit a more woke narrative, felt disrespectful to many. Some fans didn't mind changes, but they wanted the spirit of the original film to remain intact. Now, with test screenings flopping, behind-the-scenes chaos, and public backlash growing by the day, the future of Snow White 2025 is uncertain. Disney is in full panic mode, scrambling to fix the damage and salvage what's left of the film's reputation. But the question remains, can they turn this around? Or is Snow White doomed to be one of Disney's biggest failures in recent years? Fans are watching closely, waiting to see if the studio will course correct or continue down the path of destruction. The Snow White remake is quickly becoming a case study in what happens when big expectations collide with poor decision-making. What began as a promising project has spiraled into a full-blown marketing disaster, and it doesn't seem like Disney has a clear way out. If they hope to recover, they'll need to make some serious changes, but with every misstep, it's starting to look like there may be no way to fix the damage. Stay tuned, this saga is far from over. The road to redemption for Disney's Snow White 2025 might be a lot longer than anyone anticipated.